Hi,
Hello.
how's everyone doing? I hope you can hear us properly. If there are any issues and you can't hear us talking, then awesome. Thanks, Nathaniel. I've had a new situation with the mics. We're both mic'd up today. I feel a little bit like I could go karaoke with this one.
I feel all fancy with this one clipped to my tank top.
Thanks so much for joining in today. We're really excited to chat to you about Facebook ads versus Google ads. It's something that Jen and I do get asked a lot by clients and students. So we thought this is a really good opportunity to talk about the differences with you and I'm getting distracted by the comments now. And hopefully share some insights about our experiences with campaigns that can help you decide between the two of them, or ideally be prepared to use both of them in the best way possible. So a little bit of housekeeping before we get started. We're going to be running for about 1 hour. So we're going to try and cram in a high-level overview of both ad campaign types into that 1 hour. This session's being recorded, so everyone who is registered will automatically receive a link to the replay after the session. So if you can't stay for the full session, you'll automatically have that sent to your email afterwards to rewatch, particularly if you want to go back through and look at any particular sections in regards to Google ads or Facebook ads that might be useful with your own accounts as well. A lot of you have found the chat box on the side. So feel free to flick some stuff in there. We'll see how we go with getting distracted. But if you do have any specific questions, it's really good to use the question section beneath the screen. If you can type them in there, we'll keep an eye on those questions there as well. And if we're not planning on answering them during the course of the content we've got planned, we'll aim to answer them by the end of the session as well. So yes. I think that's all my housekeeping stuff. For anyone who doesn't know me, I'm Erica Stacey. I'm the Google Ads half of this conversation today. I've been working with Google Ads for 9 years and started, it was actually the digital agency I worked for. I think it was my first week. Our overall office manager, no, that wasn't a title. She had a better title than that, but she's pretty much come to me my first week and gone, we need you to set up a Google Ads campaign. Can you do that? Or AdWords like it was then. And I was like, sure. I can do that. And I think I literally Googled it. And that was a little bit embarrassing to admit, but that's how I set up my very first Google Ads campaign. And it was a tiny budget and it only ran for a few weeks. So a few things that I don't necessarily recommend, but it was my first experience and I've learned a hell of a lot since then with setting up campaigns and running my own and running client ones, and now running our training as well. And it's an incredibly useful way of reaching your audience. Jen, over to you about
Facebook ads. So I've probably been doing Facebook ads for 6 or 7 years now. This is always like that. I've probably been doing it for a few years, but like for a long time. I remember when there wasn't even like the ads manager platform.
And the ads used to be teeny tiny.
Yeah, they were small. They've come a long way. But yeah, over that time, obviously seeing Facebook ads become what it is now and seeing what brands and businesses can do with it. So have been able, mainly most of the work I've done is mainly kind of agency consultancy side, but did run like yourself a few small, here's a little bit of a budget, see what you can do. I'm pretty sure I Googled it the first time as well. You know, back then there weren't courses or anything. It was like, we're just gonna figure out how to do it. So if you know, people who have met me, I've always said I have a love-hate relationship with Facebook, and their advertising platform is something that I do really like because I find that it can be beneficial for businesses of all sizes to kind of help get a bit more traction with what they're publishing, what they want to put out there.
And they're making lots of regular updates to the Ads Manager platform as well. Obviously, it's not an area I spend a lot of time in, but I've seen a lot of updates coming through my feed recently with some changes that are coming to do with measurements and bits and pieces.
Yeah. So I always say, don't be surprised if you log in one day and then you log in the next day and it looks completely different. It's just, that's just how it is now.
I'm also adjusting. Well, I'm pretty well adjusted to the new Google Ads platform as well, because that changed last year. They let us kind of stick with the old one for a while and then just kept kind of nudging us over. And then towards the end of the year, they were like, that's it.
You're all moving to the new one.
So now I know where everything is. We're hope so.
Yeah.
Teaching others how to do it. So that's a little bit about us. You'll hear a bit more about our experiences during this session as well. I'm going to flick our video off so that you don't get distracted by us. But hopefully you can still hear us, and we'll concentrate on the slides because we have lots of them for you. So just a quick recap of what we're going to be running through today. We're going to be giving a high-level overview of what Facebook ads are, what Google ads are, trying to answer the question, which one should you use?
Yeah.
And then regardless of which one you use, whether it's one or the other or both, we're going to run through some important campaign considerations. So a fair bit to get through, so we better just jump straight in. So ads.
Ads everywhere.
Ads are everywhere.
I think as marketers, we probably notice them a lot more than people who aren't in our industry.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah.
And particularly, a lot of the times I wonder about their strategy or the planning behind particular ads as well, which is really fascinating.
There are sometimes I see ads and I'm like, how did you group me in this? Because this is of no interest to me.
So we're very much focusing on good ads practices today because we want your ads to be as effective as possible. So there's a lot of reasons why you would actually use online ads. The first one, I know this is a favorite of yours, Jen.
This is. So reach an audience you can't organically. Obviously with social media, it isn't the silver bullet, but it's a great tool to have in your marketing toolbox, if you will. And one of the things for those of you who do manage Facebook pages or Instagram accounts, any kind of social media accounts, you've probably noticed over the last few years, your organic reach has gone down a little bit. And so as
someone saying the other day, it's down to like 1 and 2% for some large accounts and large pages on Facebook.
I'm definitely seeing that as well. And so, ads are a good way where you can reach your current audience or obviously a potential audience. But I do think at the end of the day, you need to remember that these platforms, they are a business and they do need to make money. And for the most part, they're not going to charge their end user. So, businesses and brands who want to participate on them, you need to now think about having an advertising budget to reach more people.
We have had it really good for a long time.
I know, the good old days.
And it's still, for the most part, quite a cost-effective method of advertising as well. So we'll be talking a little bit about, bids and budget and duration, but I guess some of the advantages with using online ads are that they are very flexible, that you can start and stop them very quickly, as opposed to if you commit to a series of TV ads or radio ads or a billboard that's appearing for a certain period of time. Once you kind of sign that commitment, you are locked in for that period of time. Whereas ads, you do have the ability to make changes to your campaign while it's in progress.
You can pivot easily.
Pivot very easily. Love the word pivot. And the organic reach is obviously, from a Google Ads perspective, when we're talking about search ads, can be really, really useful. If your website's not getting the organic search engine rankings you want, then it is definitely a way of getting that visibility in search results very quickly. It also allows you to tailor your messages and offers. So obviously we want to be thinking about all of the organic content that we're putting out and making sure that's relevant, but we don't always have the control about when and how people will see that. Whereas with ads, we can be very, very specific that if we want people to see a certain message or a certain offer at a certain time or in a certain place, there's a lot of flexibility around that. And then also the ability to target specific people as well. So we're talking about targeting a bit today. So rather than the organic followers that you've managed to attract, it is
there's so many other people you can target, and it's not a big throw a fishnet out there and see what you can catch anymore.
No more spray and pray.
Yeah, which is one of the reasons I do like little Facebook ads. The platform, what you can target on, is phenomenal.
It is.
And kind of creepy, Big Brother-ish. But as a marketer, I love it. As a user, you just make sure your privacy settings are all set.
Yes, that's like a little side tip. Make sure your privacy settings. So looking at the two main kind of online ad types, this is very, very broad, but we have search ads. So search ads are an aspect of Google Ads, and they include shopping ads as well. So they're the types of ads that are triggered by keyword searches, where we're dealing with people who are actively seeking information on a particular topic, looking for products, looking for services, looking for information, looking for businesses, and those results generally appear in a search engine such as google.com.au, which is, or google.com, which is what Google Ads is related to, but those search ads might also relate to Yahoo ads and Bing ads as well, but Google definitely. Sorry, I shouldn't laugh. Google certainly has the lion's share of that search ads market. And then on the other side of the coin, broadly, we look at display ads, which can include video as well. And display ads are the one that cross both Facebook ads and Google ads in our discussion, because that's where the ads are appearing in the platforms being used by target audiences. And there's a whole range of targeting options available. So ads in those senses, I find, that tend to be a bit more passive, because we're actually pushing them at people. So I kind of liken it with thinking about these two ad types to that push-pull mentality, which is one of the big differences. So with search ads, people are actually looking for you. They're actively looking for you. They're seeking you. They are trying to, you're pulling them towards you because they're reaching out looking for you.
Yeah.
Whereas display ads, we are pushing our content at them, and hopefully it's the right message, the right time, the right person who is going to be attracted to them. Do have to keep in mind that display ads can be stopped by ad blockers. So that's just, they're not completely fallible. Some people really dislike ads and turn them off and install ad blockers. So we're not guaranteed to reach absolutely everybody. But yeah, broadly. So Google ads. When we talk about Google ads, people do often think of just search campaigns. So they're those text ads that appear at the top of search results. But Google's ad platform does actually provide 5 different types of ads. So there's going to be a little bit of an overlap with what we're talking about here. So search campaigns, those text ads, but Google ads also allow you to create display ads, which include remarketing advertising. So those targeting people who have already visited your website. And the display ads they can be shown on any website on the internet that uses Google's display network. So this kind of taps into Google's AdSense platform as well. So any website can sign up to be an ad publisher on Google's display network. They can choose what types or categories or topics of ads they want to display, and then they have spaces available within their website to show those ads, which are automatically served up. So really, really broad reach there across a whole range of websites. You probably often see them on news sites. Gumtree.com.au gets a lot of visibility. They get a lot of their ads through there, and the websites themselves receive a couple of cents for each impression, so they get a bit of a kickback from displaying the ads on their site and kind of providing their real estate there. The Google Ads platform also allows you to run video ads through YouTube. So they could be the pre-roll ads, mid-roll ads, or longer form ads. There's whole heaps of different options there with video ads. And there's also shopping ads, which appear in Google search results as well. And the newest category Google's looking at specifically are app ads. So where people specifically want to drive app installs and in-app purchases. So they're targeted more at mobile devices where those apps are being installed. So you'll see this in Google Ads. When you're creating a new campaign, you can select between the 5 different campaign types: that search, display, shopping, video, and universal app. And just to reinforce what I meant by some of them, so this is an example of some Google search campaigns. So they're the couple of paid ads that appear at the top and sometimes the bottom of the search results, depending on what the keyword is. So you're not always going to see them in search results. It's going to depend on whether or not people are actually bidding on those keywords. Had to put one of these in. So here's an example of a display ad. A friend of mine actually sent me this because I'm running some remarketing ads at the moment.
Are you going to remodel your kitchen or?
No, I've actually had a couple of friends send me these like, look, I just saw you. And I'm like, that means you visited my website. I'm running remarketing display ads.
Following you.
So this is an example of a website that uses the AdSense platform or Google's display network to show display ads. In this case, picking up on my remarketing campaign. And then we've got shopping ads as well. So the little, you'll see on the right-hand side, we've got on the left-hand side, we have our organic results that you would see when you purchase, when you search for yellow shoes. And then on the right-hand side, these are all examples of shopping ads. So shopping ads are really great for product providers, and you actually don't even have to write the ads. You just submit your feed. Yeah. You need to make sure you have a really clean feed, but you submit your product feed directly to Google's Merchant Center, and it will automatically pick up you can choose which pieces of information you want to display, but typically it's the product image, the product name, the price, the location are the main ones. And then you can see across the top where we're looking at all results at the moment, but there's also images, and then specifically you can go into shopping. So there's certain terms that try and trigger when people might be actively looking to buy. So it's a great way of connecting them directly with those products that they can buy online. So just a few examples of some Google ads there. Your turn, Jen.
Yay. Okay, so Facebook ads. I think probably the most popular ones are boosting organic content. So a lot of people would be familiar with the blue button.
Probably because Facebook pushes it.
I know.
Facebook's constantly telling us to boost this.
I know. I don't like the blue button only because you don't have as much, you don't have as many variables that you can work with, and it really makes the dashboard a bit messy, which I don't like. And when it comes to reporting,
I've just realized boost button is kind of like Google's version of AdWords Express.
Probably,
which is really limited.
Yeah.
So great if you just want to do a simple campaign and get started, but very, very little flexibility.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's probably the most popular one. I hear a lot of people go, yeah, I run ads, I use the blue button. It's like, but there are obviously other ads that you can run. So page likes, if you're looking to grow your community, you can run a page likes ad. With post ads, obviously you can do existing content. So that's all the organic content that you're pushing out, but you can also do unpublished posts as well. And there's a variety. It's not just single images. Like you can upload videos, you can have a carousel, slideshow. You can do collections. My new favorite yet on that list is the lead generation form. So doing things like, increasing your email subscribers is a great one. I always say, social is great, but you need to think about, digitally, how does everything work together? And, you own those email addresses. You don't necessarily own anything on Facebook.
Yeah.
So if you've got a pretty strong, if you've got a pretty strong community on Facebook, you can, turn around and get them to sign up to your email address. So.
And those lead generation forms just make it so easy for the user as well, because it automatically pre-populates the field. With
they don't even leave the platform. Yeah, they don't even leave the platform to sign up to your email. So if you have something like MailChimp, it's really easy integration. It will automatically put them on the list you want them to go on. So it's pretty seamless. It's just setting it all up.
A lot of the email platforms are doing some pretty cool integrations with ads at the moment, both from remarketing as well as the subscriber integration as well. Yeah, which is good to see.
I think that just reinforces you have to look at your digital strategy holistically, and how do all the different tools in your toolbox work together.
Yeah. Oh, it's do have a look out.
Yes, so Nathaniel's asked, does Facebook have something similar to remarketing? So yes, they do. So it's a Facebook pixel. So just usually have Erica install on the website. But same with Google Ads, you can remarket to people who have come to your website, to specific pages on your website. One thing to keep in mind with Facebook ads is you do have to have a minimum audience size of 1,000 people. So sometimes that's where remarketing, there's a bit of a hiccup. If you don't have enough traffic coming to your website, and you may have enough traffic, but you need to have people who are Facebook users coming to your website. So you can expand that. Usually if you're looking at, one example I've got that I actually just ran was, we wanted people to come to a specific seasonal package for an accommodation. There wasn't enough people coming to that page in the last 180 days. However, when we took a step back and went to just all the packages that people were looking at, we had enough people going to all of the different packages that they offered. So we used that as the remarketing tool.
Oh, that's a great way of looking at it, and kind of thinking, well, they're definitely people who are looking at packages, so they're obviously interested, as opposed to browsing other aspects of the website. I think we'll chat a bit more about remarketing and some of the examples we've got as well, because it's a really useful tool on there.
Are site visitors the only people we can remarket to on Facebook? Yes.
Yeah.
Well, the Facebook pixel,
that was another question there from Keith about remarketing. I guess to think about with remarketing, the concept of remarketing is showing ads to people who have already visited your website. So whether you're doing that through Google Ads or through Facebook ads, that audience is always related to people who have already visited your website. You can take a step beyond that, but it usually falls into more broad display or different types of targeting, where you might be looking, probably like jumping ahead here, but I know with Google Ads you can create audiences who are similar to website visitors.
Yeah, you can do the
and
same
Facebook has the lookalike audiences, so it kind of piggybacks on that remarketing audience, but remarketing itself is generally people on your website as opposed to other
people who may not
visitors.
Know that you are around.
Yes. So like Jen mentioned, there's a couple of different ad types, or lots of different ad types.
Lots. So we've just popped in a couple of screenshots. So when you're not using the, okay, all right, Sarah, see ya. When you're not using the blue boost button, and you're using the ads platform, the dashboard, it will give you options like this. So you'll see you can create a carousel, you can create a single image or video or a collection of images. Erica's using a Mac. I'm not.
Sorry, I'm the like ding and the page.
So just another screenshot of when you're creating an ad, what that looks like. So you can. The nice thing about Facebook ads, and what I like about digital really, is the ability to test quickly to figure out what's working and what doesn't. And sometimes, what works or what's successful may surprise you. I have had that happen a lot during my Facebook ads career. And that's just, it's just based on what users engage with or what they resonate with. And sometimes I know some people who run ads, you do get too close to your business or your brand, and it's like, this image is quote unquote on brand and it'll work, but then another image may take you by surprise. So
I think that's where the new dynamic ads.
Oh yes, dynamic ads are also my new favorite. So not all of the objectives, but some of the objectives within Facebook ads gives you an option to run dynamic ads. And that's basically kind of doing all the hard work for you. So instead of coming up with, okay, here are 4 images I want to test with 4 different texts, but I have to do them in kind of a phased approach, you can basically pop in 10 images, 5 descriptions. You have your link, 5 different link headlines, a variety of call to actions, and then Facebook does the hard work for you and creates all different kinds of variations to figure out which one is the best one and which one is going to work on your target audience. Instead of
A/B testing, it's like A to Z testing.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's great. Like especially if you're driving website traffic, that's an objective that allows you to use dynamic ads. I'm almost always now using dynamic ads for that objective.
And I think it's great, I guess, and there's some similarities with the Google Ads platform as well, that the advances with technology, and a lot of this is coming from machine learning, that it's great for us as marketers and advertisers being able to take advantage of that. Like you say, we're not having to do that heavy lifting with creating every single variation manually, but just putting the content options that we have in and allowing the platform to do those different combinations, show it to different groups of people. It's measuring the results and the effectiveness, and it's automatically managing which ads are being shown more based on the response. So I'll just say, Sharon, I have seen your question down there. I'm going to hold that one to the end because we weren't going to cover that kind of account stuff specifically, but we can do that in our Q&A, so we will get to it.
Yeah, and so just an overview of different placements that you have, options for placements within Facebook ads. Obviously, desktop feed, mobile, right-hand side column, Instagram, stories, and then partner platforms. When you do create ads, my tip is to have a look at how the ad displays across each of the placements. Sometimes your text can be cut off and it may look a little bit funny.
Yeah.
So it doesn't take very long, and it's really easy to view each of the different placements. So
and there's 22 of them now.
Yeah, there's a lot.
I swear the last time I was in Ads Manager, there was 9.
Yeah.
And I jumped in to grab these screenshots yesterday, and I was like, what? So I haven't actually listed all of the 22 platforms, but from the drop-down menu, you kind of get an idea of the different places that your ads can be seen. And I know sometimes it will say if it can't be shown in a certain place because the content doesn't fit, or like Jen said, there might be some placements where it doesn't look very good as well. So it's worthwhile clicking through that list.
The mobile newsfeed one, I would say, is probably mobile newsfeed and Instagram. If you're going to be using those placements, are probably the most important, just because mobile usage in Australia is quite high. So a majority of your people will probably see your ad on the mobile phone.
And they actually preference that now as the first placement, which I always see gives it a bit of an idea. And Google Ads is doing the same now as well. They used to actually show the desktop version of an ad preview, and they've changed it in the last few months, so the mobile version's preferenced. And Messenger inbox, I'm seeing lots more ads. And it might be that case, like you said, of being more aware of ads, but I'm definitely seeing a lot more in my inbox now as well.
Yeah,
but when they're relevant, I don't mind them.
Yeah, as long as ads are relevant to me, great.
Yeah, that's going to be our biggest tip.
Yeah.
So a little bit of an overview of the 2 platform types there. So which ad type should you use? This is the $1 million question, and going to really probably annoy some people by saying it depends.
Yeah, it depends on what you want to achieve and what type of what type of assets you have.
Yeah, and there are going to be situations where both of them might be suitable.
Yeah.
So it is going to be that consideration of whether or not you can afford to do both of them from a time perspective as well as budget and energy and effort, or prioritize which platform is going to help you achieve what you want or reach the right type of people.
One of the things I've started to do when working with clients across ads is, because Facebook, you can start those ads at $1 a day, which is great, but remember, you get what you pay for, so you're not going to be getting thousands and thousands of people, reaching thousands and thousands of people in a day. But over time, so the example I had mentioned earlier about the remarketing to a specific specials package versus the package section of a website, same client. We've been running Facebook ads for a while, and we've now decided Facebook ads is a great way for us to bring brand awareness to their business. So we're introducing their accommodation to people who may not know that they're around, because they're a smaller accommodation business. And now we're going to complement that with Google Ads, with the harder call to action to actually book something in. Because when we were doing that harder call to action on Facebook, I think when people are in the mindset of like perusing through their Facebook page, they're potentially not ready to book a big ticket item, but you can use Facebook ads to get them to your website and then remarket them with Google ads. So it's really finding, I find for me, it's really finding, what objective is working best. And there are some clients and businesses that I work for where, we can get people to buy something from an online shop from a Facebook ad. That's probably a smaller price point. So we don't necessarily have to do Google ads, but we may introduce it if there's like a big launch of a new product or anything like that.
So it's really, like Jen said, kind of thinking about what you want to achieve with your ads and potentially starting off with one as well and then growing rather than trying to jump in and do everything at once, but definitely thinking about how you want to reach your audience or what your audience is actually doing. So particularly like thinking about search campaigns, because if we go back to that idea of you've got search ads and then you've got display ads, which could be either on Facebook or through Google's display network, is if you're thinking about running search campaigns in Google, you have to ask, are people actually actively searching for your business or organization, your products, your services, or other keywords or terms related to your business? So, and this is something I had a client I was working with last year who had a very new product. It was actually, and we did a bit of keyword research, and it was so new and innovative. No one was searching for it because they didn't know it existed. So that's something you've got to keep in mind as well. There's going to be certain terms and situations. So, yellow shoes, for example.
Yeah.
People are searching for yellow shoes. People are searching for plumbers and accountants and web developers and all those. There are certain industries and products that we know people are looking for, and that's a really great way of using Google search campaigns. But if you are actually in quite a new area where people might not be looking, that's going to be an important consideration as to whether or not search campaigns are relevant. And in her case, we ended up using Facebook ads because we knew what type of audience would be attracted to the product, but we needed to actually introduce the product to them. So if you are thinking about doing search campaigns, and if that is, if you're aware already that people are searching for your product, but maybe they're not finding your content organically, a couple of tools you can use to research that are keyword tools. So things like KW Finder, they've got a free account where you could go in and type your search term in. It'll come up with related search terms and let you know the actual volume of people who are searching for those terms each month. So like I said, if you have a very unique product that no one's looking for, or maybe you have to be a bit creative with, maybe they're searching for a solution for a problem, but they don't actually know that the product, there could be some creative connections you can make there. But you need to have some clarity around whether or not they're looking for what you have, first of all, before going down that search campaigns path. You can also look at your organic search traffic in Google Analytics. So you're already getting a lot of search traffic, in which case is great, but you can enhance it and get more from search with using Google Ads, or perhaps you're not getting very much search traffic, and rather than investing time and energy into SEO and kind of getting those long-term results, which I always recommend you should do, Google Ads are a really quick way to get to the top of those search results as well. And then, obviously looking at your organic search ranking. So, if you are an accountant in Adelaide, but you're tucked away on page 6 or 7 or 8 of Google, it might be worthwhile doing some ads if you're looking to generate some new business from people looking for accountants in Adelaide. So that's kind of, thinking about that push-pull mentality of people actively searching and whether or not Google search ads are the way to go. And then, on the flip side of the coin, it's whether or not you want to consider targeting new audiences with using display ads, and whether that's using all of Facebook's kind of display ad options or Google's display ad options, or that opportunity to reinforce your message or offerings to an existing audience as well. So whether it's using something like remarketing, or your email subscriber list, which you can upload to Facebook.
I know,
as well.
hot tip. If you didn't know you can do it, you can. It's amazing. Again, there has to be a minimum. So you got to have a pretty healthy, strong email list, but your audience needs to be that minimum of 1,000 people. So
so there's all different ways between both Google Ads platform and Facebook's platform that you can target new audiences, but predominantly they're based around their demographic. So you can identify like, do you want to target men or women or people of a certain age?
They live in a certain area.
All of kind of those factors. You can target them by their interests. So like Jen said, it's kind of a little bit creepy how far you can target people on Facebook ads, but it's all based on the information that we give Facebook. So it can be related to, what pages they like, what their kind of general interests that they have put through their profile and previous habits as well. We can target based on behaviour. So like we said, website visits are something that's used for remarketing, and even visiting specific pages. And Google Analytics has actually integrated their audiences with Google Ads recently as well. So you can create any custom segment within Google Analytics and automatically send that over.
Oh, that's exciting.
Automatically send it over to your linked Google Ads account. So previously, it was still pretty cool because you could do, website visitors, people who have converted, haven't converted, and people who have visited specific pages or pages that appear in different sections of your website or have different terms in them. But now we can create some, really, really, it's probably a good thing and a bad thing.
Yeah.
Create some really detailed audiences.
I think especially when it comes to interests, I know on Facebook there's so many to choose from. Obviously, you can really dial in on who you're wanting to get your message out to. I do think it can be a good thing because then it's quality over quantity, right? Like if I do my classic, like I am selling a takeaway coffee cup, I can target people who like specific things around coffee or specific coffee brands. Again, it's not putting that the whole fishnet out there saying what you can catch. Like I'm going to make sure that it's my messaging is going to people who I know would be interested in my takeaway coffee cup. One day I'm going to start this business.
And we're all going to see your ads for takeaway coffee cup. I actually, and again, Facebook ads aren't my area, but I'll see what you think about this. I actually don't mind sometimes when Facebook tells me your audience is too small.
Yeah.
Because when I have a very specific message that I know I want to get to a specific group of people, and there's the little counter that appears, the dial on the right-hand side that's like, your audience is too broad or too big, and then it's, if it's in the middle, it's green. I don't mind if mine's a little bit to the right and it says that it's too small, because usually I know it's people who have visited a particular page or they've got a very specific interest that I definitely want to get that message to them. Yeah,
I actually, even before starting campaigns, I always have a look at the audience size, because it's all good and well if you're like, oh yeah, we're going to run a Facebook ads campaign, but then come to find out, like, don't create your assets and videos and everything before you go and research your audience, because your audience just may be too small. It's happened to me before. And it's just too small to do anything with. So you either broaden it or you look at another solution, Google Ads.
And that's a great thing you can do with the ads manager as well, before committing to setting up a campaign, before putting any money behind it, before saving any of the settings. You can actually go in there and play around with the audiences and kind of go, how many people in South Australia like coffee and might be interested in my coffee cup, or in a certain postcode radius, or that
or
type
like
of
all
thing.
the major cities or whatever it is.
So actually do that research before jumping in as well, similar to what I said you could do with your keyword research as well. So what keywords are people actually searching for? Is it going to be worthwhile? It's definitely worthwhile doing that background research and thinking about your audience and how big they are before jumping in, because it will also answer a lot of questions in regards to budget and stuff down the track as well. So
I love this one.
I don't think we really have to say anything. So it was just one example, and we've talked about a bit with remarketing, and it does involve either having actually Google Ads makes it super easy these days with Google Analytics. It's automatically providing your ads and analytics accounts are set up correctly, can automatically track and create those lists of website visitors. And then to use remarketing on Facebook, it does need that Facebook pixel installed.
Just a snippet of code.
So you can create that pixel within your ads ad account, and it's unique to each ad account. I'm like, I don't know why I'm explaining this.
No, you're doing a great job.
Correct me anytime. So it's just that snippet of code that needs to be installed in your site. So at the very base level, it can be used for remarketing, but there's also some pretty cool stuff you can program with the Facebook pixel as well to track when Facebook users then end up later converting on your website, or setting up different events to track, have they put something into the cart but not actually checked out, in which case that may be a new abandoned cart audience. All of that type of fun stuff. A little bit creepy when we talk about it. So regardless of whether you do Facebook ads or Google ads, there are some important considerations for each of the campaign types that we want to run through. And some are going to be considerations for either type, both, and some have a few kind of specific caveats there as well. The first one is having a campaign goal.
Yeah, probably the most important one.
And this is whether you're starting a Google Ads campaign or a Facebook campaign, they will ask you this at the very start. What is your campaign goal? So with Google Ads, this is what you're generally shown. It's going to ask, are you actually trying to drive sales or leads or website traffic when you're looking at search campaigns? They also have some other goals in regards to brand awareness as well. So display advertising is generally really good for generating brand awareness, because obviously you're getting your ads on lots of different places that your target audience may be, and they may not know about your product already. Whereas when we're investing in search ads and we're looking for people who are typing in keywords and we actively want to bring them to our website, we're generally looking to generate sales from them or leads. So if it's more of an inquiries for a service-based business, or website traffic as well. So really important to think about what you actually want and have one campaign goal or objective.
Super important with Facebook ads, because you can actually pick from 11, is it 11 now? Still 11 objectives. And so when you think, like when you're thinking about your campaign goal, make sure it's one objective per campaign. So a while ago, I worked with a client that they created these amazing videos, and they set up their ad campaign, and it's like, we just aren't getting the video views that we thought we would with the money we're spending. And so I went in and had a look at how they set it up, and I think they had picked reach as their objective. So Facebook is really just looking to put that ad in front of as many people as possible. And so we switched it to video views. So, Facebook is looking to put that people who are most likely going to watch videos. And we saw, obviously then the ad did what we needed it to do. We saw a lot more views on Facebook, on the videos that they had created. So so just be really mindful about, what objective you want to hit when you're running your ads.
And it may mean that you need to run a couple of campaigns as well. So like we said, if it is new, it's good to pick one campaign objective and start off with one thing and grow from there. But there might be, you might have one audience that you want to drive brand awareness with, like I said, with people who don't know about your business already, that you actually want to reach new people, versus people who already know who you are, who are actively looking for you, who you are wanting to convert. So thinking about different audiences, different campaign objectives as well. And particularly when it comes to, like Jen said, with that video views example, conversions is a big one with that as well. So if you're actually looking for sales or sign-ups or people to do something specific, then definitely look at picking that type of goal, because the way that these platforms work is it's going to automatically show those ads to more people who are like the people who have converted, which is essentially what we want. So it doesn't necessarily, you might not get the wide, broad reach, but like we said, we're kind of avoiding that spray and pray approach and really trying to target people who are going to do the thing that we want them to do. So we have talked about audience a bit already, but and they do kind of overlap. So it does kind of go hand in hand, but you are going to have to pick your goal and objective, and then you're actually going to have to define your audience in some way as well if you haven't defined them already. And this would be my second big recommendation. Don't try and target the same audience with multiple campaigns. Not at the same time.
No.
If you have that phased approach.
You can definitely run into like content or ad fatigue quite quickly.
And like any other content on Facebook, people can report it, and people can hide ads, and they can report why they they ask why they're hiding it as well, and that's just something to keep in mind. If you do get a lot of complaints, it would be an issue. So it might seem easy to just kind of set up one audience and target
blast them and everything. So you need to be really thoughtful about what you want them to do, because you don't want them to be confused either. Like, you've asked me to do a million things. I don't know what to do. I'm just going to dismiss you.
So I have an analogy I think I used in an update a couple of weeks ago. But I did a very, very short stint at an ad agency, which was awful. But one of the best pieces of advice I got from our manager there was in regards to the way that they and this is like traditional ads. This is like 12 years ago or something. So we were talking about radio campaigns and TV campaigns. And he kind of said, you got to think about, it's like you're throwing a ball at someone. And if you throw 6 balls at someone at the same time, they're probably not going to catch any of them.
No, they're going to be angry with you.
But if you throw 1 ball at them, they've got a really good chance of catching it. So don't try and give people too many things, too many options, too many things to do. It's, you know, if you've got one objective, one message, obviously, you know, you can word that in different ways, but they're going to be seeing one of those ads, and they're going to have a much better chance of doing what it is that you want them to do. So we did touch on this before. There are different ways you can define your audience. So there might be demographics that you're using. If you know that there's a particular gender or age range that you want to reach, they might be in a particular geographic location. They might already have particular interests, either related to your organisation or a similar organisation that you can kind of hijack. There might be topics. So some of these terms are going to vary between the Facebook platform and the Google Ads platform. So Google Ads refers to them as topics. You can choose what they're interested in. And then there's behaviour-based audience definitions as well. So with something like remarketing, we don't, you can still, you know, put some demographics targeting around it as well. But with something like remarketing, we generally go, if somebody's gone and looked at this package or looked at this particular page, they've demonstrated interest in it, we just want to show them the ad regardless.
Yeah, we're not they're already a warm lead.
Yeah, we're not going to then try and knock down and go, oh, no, we actually only want to show it to people of this age or in this location. So you can overlay some of these, but it's going to kind of depend on what that overall objective is there as well.
The budget question.
And this is going to be affected by your audience as well.
Yeah.
So like Jen was talking about audience size before, a lot of the way that these campaigns work these days are like, you know, you want to reach the people, you got to pay the money.
Yep.
So thinking about things like how much are you able to or willing to spend on an ad, how long you can sustain it for, what's your cost per conversion, and I haven't put this in there yet, what your audience size is as well. Because if you've got $50, you might not be able to reach everyone in Australia or everyone in the world. You might need to kind of rein it in a little bit. So while it's still a really cost-effective form of advertising, you've got to be realistic with how many people you're going to want to reach.
Yeah, and I think when it comes to budgets, obviously I said earlier, like you need to have there needs to be a Facebook advertising budget, even if you don't have a campaign that you want to run today. There are some evergreen campaigns that I've always encouraged people to run, but there needs to be some money put aside, and not to make it digital versus traditional. But one of the reasons I love digital and Facebook ads is because I can work with a smaller budget than it would take for me to get a billboard printed, and I can run way more ads and do, you know, and as many pivots as I need to with that budget. But it also gives you that flexibility to test a few things in the beginning as well. So if you just, you know, take your overall budget and say, okay, we'll use 10% of it for testing purposes just to see what is going to be the most successful. And then we can use the rest of our budget on what we know works with that particular audience.
Yeah. It's definitely just going to be a case of kind of, I mean, with all of this, we are testing, we're putting a bit of a plan together, but we do need to just kind of jump in there and have a go as well, and have a go for a decent amount of time. I'll talk about duration in a second, but that's going to be a consideration as well. And it is still really cost effective. I mean, it is a bit of a how long is a piece of string thing, because particularly when you're talking about search ads and keywords, that's going to be affected by the cost per click for a particular keyword. And that cost per click is based on how competitive the keyword is. So how many other people are also wanting to bid on that keyword. So I've seen ad campaigns with some keywords where you're only paying a couple of cents cost per click. And there can be some that are up to $15, $20, $40 cost per click, depending on how competitive they are. And that's where, again, doing a bit of that research and tools like KW Finder or the Keyword Planner within Google Ads will actually give you an indication of how much your cost per click is. So that's going to affect what your budget needs to be. And in Google Ads, generally I run kind of like long-term, either ongoing or campaigns that run for at least 3 months or more. So we tend to think more in daily budgets and then working that up to a monthly budget and putting that into your marketing planner. So again, this is very, very rough, but I would always recommend people, and this is looking at like within Australia and within South Australia, it's a bit easier because we've got such a small population. But looking at starting off with say $10 a day for search ads is usually pretty healthy and pretty comfortable, and that works out to $304 per month. That's the way that Google calculates its monthly budget. And for remarketing and display, you can often get away with say like $5 a day because it's display ads are generally much cheaper, and the cost click-through rate is usually a lot lower there as well. But then it's going to depend on your keyword, because if you've got a $20 keyword, you're not going to be getting any clicks with a $10 a day budget. But if your keyword is 10 cents or $2 or $2.50, you could be getting 4 clicks a day with a $10 daily budget. And then that's going to be, like I mentioned that last point, what your cost per conversion is. So you're going to have to think about how much you're willing to spend based on what it is that you're selling. And if you're selling a $5 coffee cup, you're probably not going to want to be spending $5 cost per click. So it's going to have to be a proportion of how much the thing is that you're actually selling. Whereas if you're selling a holiday package, which is worth hundreds or thousands of dollars, you might
be comfortable with a higher.
So that's going to be a consideration as well. So you're going to have to do a little bit of maths in that regard to think about.
You never get away from
spend. No. They should just do maths these days, like based on campaign.
I know. I'd be interested then.
And you are going to have to think about your campaign duration as well. So is it going to be something that you're running as an ongoing campaign? So a lot of the kind of generic search campaign ads that we do in Google Ads are often set up as ongoing campaigns that we just want to have an ongoing flow of traffic from search going to the website. Or there might be specific campaign
start and end dates.
Yeah, campaigns with start and end dates. Thank you. So if you've got a school holiday special or a Christmas special or an event, you might be working back. You might be working back with starting to advertise that, 4, 6, 8 weeks out leading up to school holidays when people might be searching for it, and having that start end date there. And that's obviously going to affect your budget as well. If you have to pick a daily budget, how long is the campaign going to go for, or can we maintain this budget indefinitely? That being said, you can always increase or decrease budgets as well. So if your campaign's going well, and you're actually seeing that return on investment, you're getting sales from it, you're getting leads, it can be worthwhile then, bumping it up an extra few dollars a day. The great thing about ongoing campaigns as well is you can pause them at any time.
Same with Facebook ads.
So that's something to keep in mind. You don't always have to set in a start and end date, because usually when there's a start and end, you can't restart it. So sometimes it can be good to just call it an ongoing campaign, but know that you can go in there at any point in time and pause it. So I've got some clients who pause their search campaigns over the Christmas break when they're closed, because they're not actively in the office answering, and they don't want to be spending that extra money. And usually people aren't searching as much for some professional services over that break, so it just saves everyone a little bit of money. And then we just unpause them when they come back.
It's all the same with Facebook ads.
They're so similar. Just different platforms. Creative,
yes. Okay, so my tip on creative, this goes hand in hand with defining your audience. You need to think about the way you talk to someone who's in their 20s to 30s is probably going to be a little bit different than the way you talk to someone who may be in their 50s or 60s. So when I work with clients on coming up with creative, defining your audience is so important, because if it's, we actually target three different age groups. It's like, okay, the images, the video, the copy we use is going to be quite different.
I have like young people looking for a romantic time away versus a family. Versus older people who might have different interests. So that's going to be an important factor as well. I've just noticed the time, so we're clearly going to tick over our hour mark. Hopefully you can stay with us. If not, we're going to keep going and you're going to get the replay of this video later on. I always overestimate how much we can fit into these things and just chat too much.
I know.
So just recapping a couple of those slides. For Facebook, they show the different types of creative you can use. So you can choose an existing post from your page or from your Instagram account.
Yeah.
We should have kind of like touched on the fact that Instagram ads can be run through Facebook Ads Manager. Or you can create a new ad using a whole range of different formats and then upload those different images, pop in different text, preview how it's going to look on the different placements, use that dynamic ads option where you can put in all sorts of images. It doesn't have to be 10 exactly as well. It's like up to these ones. And I believe you can add in extras as you go as well. Yeah.
You can edit.
And then select your placement. So where you actually want your ads to appear. And this is going to then vary depending on which platform you're using.
Yeah.
But we chatted through some of these before. So Facebook's got potentially those 22 different placements you can choose from.
There actually have been some instances where I have run a different ad on Facebook to what I run on Instagram. So then in those instances, I pick, like, I only want this ad to run on Facebook. I only want this ad to run on Instagram. So I think just it comes back to your creative and potentially your objective, your call to action. So think about how users use Facebook versus how they use Instagram and how they may how that may change the type of ad that you set up. But it's not very often that I do. A lot of people say, there's so much I want to control with Facebook ads. Like, I want to pick the exact placements and I want to pick the cost per conversion or bid or whatever. And it's, at the end of the day, Facebook is a beast and they want you to continue to spend money with them. So you have to trust that they're going to do good by you and try to get your ad in front of as many people or, fulfilling your objectives as possible. So there is a point where, yes, you can control every single variable, but I also say just Facebook knows what they're doing when it comes to this. Their ad platforms come a long way. Let them do what they know.
Same with Google as well. I would say. They're quite similar here. And like you said at the start there, because we are, it's free for users to use Facebook. It's free for people to search on Google. This is the way they make their money, and people are only going to keep using it if it's a good experience and they're actually getting the results there as well. Well, I'll just say, while you said you would sometimes use those different creatives in different places, for someone who was just starting out, providing the ad looks good in all of the placements, would you recommend that they just run all the placements with their first campaign and then see what the results are like? Just to make it simple. Don't overcomplicate it if it's going to be the first one you're running. Because you do have, often when we talk about Facebook ads, we just think about ads that appear in the feed, but as you can see, there are a whole range of different places that those ads can appear. Instagram feed, I'm seeing a lot more on Instagram stories now as well, and they get quite a lot of good engagement, and having the click through from ads in Instagram stories is really good. So it's worthwhile, making use of all those placements you have available in those
seeing
ads.
What works, because one placement could surprise you. You may not think Messenger inbox works, but geez, that one worked. All right.
There's a few other apps I use where I see when I'm running ad campaigns and I see them pop up sometimes. I'm like, oh, I didn't realize that was an option. All these random screenshots on my phone where I'm seeing particular ads show up. And this screenshot's a bit crunchy, but I mentioned that the topics and placements that you can do with Google Ad Campaign networks as well. So topics are essentially the same as interests for Facebook. You can go through and choose where you want, what type of topics the browsers are interested in. This is something important to keep in mind with Google Ads and the way they've kind of changed their placements for their display ad preferences recently. So kind of going back a number of years, we probably used to spend a bit more time choosing the exact websites we wanted our ads to appear on. And there can sometimes be a bit of ego in that as well. Like you want your ads to show on a certain website. But the way that the platform has moved, which is again is indicative of the results that they're getting, is to think more about your audience. So it's less about the exact websites and more about the type of people that you want to see your ads in all of the different places that they're looking. because there could be some really quite small niche websites that are using Google Ads that you would never think to choose as a placement, but they might be really relevant to your audience. So that's why I prefer to use topics over choosing specific website placements. You can still see exactly which websites your ads end up showing on. And sometimes you will get, some of the big news sites and travel sites and real estate sites as well. But think more about, who is my audience and what are they interested in? And the great thing about remarketing as well is your ads can end up in so many places.
Yes.
I had one client who I told him we were running a remarketing campaign. That was the whole thing. They approved the budget. But then for weeks, he was sending me screenshots going, I can't believe we got onto news.com.au. I can't believe we got onto here. I can't believe we got onto there. And I kind of didn't end up having the heart to tell him, like, it's actually just for you.
Yeah.
You're seeing all these ads because you visited the website. He was just so excited. So
But it's working, right?
Yeah. He was getting that response. Thankfully, he wasn't clicking on them, so he weren't getting charged. So your placement considerations are more for your display ads, and then with your search campaigns, it's more thinking about your keywords and your ads as well. So what are the keywords people actually, the keywords that people are actually searching for, and thinking about creative, where what do we actually want to say in those ads, and again, we can create lots of different variations of those ads, and it's good to write at least 3 different variations. Google Ads actually offer responsive search ads now as well, where kind of similar to the dynamic Facebook ads, you can dump in a whole heap of headlines. I think it's like 15 headlines,
Okay.
4 different descriptions, and your link, and they will
do the hard work.
Do the hard work and combine all of those to see which one works best. And by default, the Google Ads search campaign setting is on auto optimize. So it's going to test all of, in those first few days your ad's running, it's going to test all of your different ad types. And then it's going to see, is there a preference for the ads that people tend to be clicking on or tend to be converting on? And it'll automatically start showing the higher converting ads. So it's good to have a lot of different options in there to make the most of those machine learning options that we have available within the platforms now. I think I actually popped that slide in the wrong section. Sorry. Just let me go back. There we go.
Follow guidelines, yes.
I got a bit confused there, sorry. So yeah, guidelines. Both of the platforms have guidelines.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
So your ads aren't going to show immediately.
No.
That's kind of the big thing to keep in mind. They will go under review, and they do need to be approved before they start displaying.
Yeah. I find Facebook ads do get approved for the most part quite quickly, but there are some that I would think, I've just added another ad to this campaign, but it will take a few hours to do. There are some instances, if there's too much text in your image, Facebook gives you kind of a flagging. You can request a manual review if they think you're discriminating in some way. All these things come up, so you can request a manual review, and sometimes those happen quite quickly for me, but other times I've seen it's taken a day or so to kind of get through the system.
Yeah, Google advised leaving up to 24 hours. I generally find it's quicker. I generally find they're approved within a couple of hours, but they do say allow up to 24 hours. So that's just something to keep in mind if it is a time-sensitive campaign, or you've got an offer in there or something, that you may need that extra time. And for the search campaigns, there are some editorial guidelines around what you can include in your ads, and a lot of them will actually be, won't even allow you to say that if it's picking, automatically picking up some of those. So things like you can't use all capital letters.
You don't want to shout at
people. You can't use multiple exclamation marks. You can't even use an exclamation mark in the headline of a search ad. And then there's the actual content as well, and there's certain topics you can't advertise, or there may be some issues with advertising regarding trademarks or first, like certain topics like drugs and guns. And
all those things.
Stuff. So worthwhile reading those if you are in potentially any of those areas which might be seen as a little bit more controversial, which is allowing that time for approval as well. Yeah, that little, slide in the wrong spot. And then lastly, track and measure.
Yay! Oh, the data.
So my big recommendation would be to set up your tracking or make sure it's working before your campaign starts.
Yes.
So think about what it is, we're kind of going back to the start there with, what is your campaign goal or objective that is going to help you know whether or not it's working, and is it something that you can measure? There's been a number of times where I've kind of been called in at the end of a big campaign, like someone's just spent 8 weeks rolling something out and they want to try and track back and see how many of these conversions were actually attributed to a certain ad campaign. And some of it, while we say, it's digital, you can track everything, certain things actually need to be planned in advance, and it can be difficult to kind of isolate that traffic if you aren't using things like campaign URLs or you haven't integrated some of these tools with your Google Analytics or those types of things. So spend a bit of time thinking about that beforehand and doing that testing, and then you can obviously see, are you getting more traffic to your website? Are you getting more conversions? Are they coming from the places? And make use of those automated tracking options, such as Google Analytics goals and Facebook Pixel there as well.
Yeah.
Cool. So that was us. And we will jump to the questions in a sec. Just want to mention quickly that if you are interested in learning any more about Facebook and Instagram ads or Google ads, we do have a couple of training workshops coming up next month. So Jen will be taking our half-day Mastering Facebook and Instagram Ads workshop.
Yeah.
And there's only 2 spots remaining.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
We're going to get you to not use the blue button. Don't use the blue button.
And then we do have that's the early bird rate there. That's going to be available until the 25th of March, so Tuesday. So if you're keen in learning more, and she'll be taking you through the whole Ads Manager platform, going into more detail about
to become your best friend.
about choosing those objectives, using the Audience Manager, using things like the dynamic ads and creative options as well.
And setting up ads.
Yeah.
As well. We'll set up ads during that. So if you're coming, or if you plan on coming, registering for one of the last 2 spots, do have a few things, with you. What campaign do you want to run? Do you have assets already? Do you have your audience? Because I like to have it a bit hands-on, not just here it is, you go do it yourself, but here it is, let's do it. If you have any questions, I'm here.
Yeah, we're all about practical skills building and hopefully getting your ads up and running as well. And then I'm running at the end of April, we've got an Introduction to Google Ads workshop. So that's all going to be focused on the best practices for setting up search campaigns. We do focus on search campaigns in that particular one. So if people are actually typing in the keywords and looking for your products or services or business. And these can both be found on our website as well. I've got the URL in the next slide where you can go and find those. With the Google Ads campaign, Google Ads workshops, the first one is focused on that setup, but then there is going to be another one a few weeks later, which we call Google Ads Optimization, which is all about reviewing your results and understanding what they mean so you can refine them. So if you are looking at running ongoing ads campaigns, then it's good to get your ad campaign set up soon after that first workshop, have it running for a couple of weeks, and then we'll come back and go through what all the numbers mean and what you can do to keep improving as well. And so there's a bundle option there for you. And full details of both of those can be found on the website. So have a scroll through there. They're all listed on the homepage along with all the other workshops that we have coming up as well. So thank you. Do let us know if you've got any questions about those workshops as well. But we have some questions. Cool. Okay. We'll start from the top. Sharon has asked as a question. This is a Facebook one. So I'm going to kick it to you.
I have an ad account for a client, but somehow it's attached to my own personal profile. How can I delete the ad account and start again? I've tried so many ways. Yes, so before Facebook Business Manager came out, basically all ad accounts were attached to a personal profile, so it's a bit of a pain. You can delete the ad account and start again. What I would recommend is, if you haven't already, sign up for Business Manager. So if it's a client, so obviously if you're a consultant or a freelancer, you would have set up your own Facebook Business Manager. And then what I always do is have the client set up their advertising account, and then you tap into that through Business Manager.
So they share it with you, don't
Yeah, because
you request access.
Yeah, you request access basically. Because in that instance, say you decide client is ready to go do all the things on their own, they sometimes can't get that ad account back into their Business Manager. So it's a bit of a pain, and sorry you had to go through that. I remember I had to do this with all of my ad accounts that I set up before I jumped into Business Manager. But basically, and I wouldn't delete the ad account yet, obviously get all the insights that you want from it first. Because if it's linked to your personal profile, also you can't import that into Business Manager. This is one of the things I hate about Facebook.
No,
they haven't made it very user friendly.
There is going to be that cutoff point, kind of everything that has been done in that personal ad account up to now is going to have to stay there, but then it's going to be transitioning over to the new client ad account.
Which can be good, because I think from a dashboard's perspective, if you haven't had your campaign set up very nicely, or you've been using the blue button, it gives you an opportunity to start fresh with how your insights look and how everything's set up, so it looks nice and you don't get overwhelmed when you go in there.
Hopefully that helps, Sharon. I'll see if we can find a link to an article which helps as well. I know you said you've tried so many ways, but if we can find a quick link there. Otherwise, I'm sure at the workshop.
Yeah. It is. That's actually something I work through a lot at the workshop.
We do.
Yeah.
Nathaniel's got 3 questions in here, so I'm going to answer one of them and then jump down to Kat's and then come back to a couple of the other 2. So Nathaniel's asked, first of all, how to best combine Facebook ads and Google ads for the best results, and if you want to overlap them. And I guess it's going to depend on what that objective is. So I'd probably answer that in 2 ways. If we were thinking about display ads and some of the display ads or remarketing ad options, you could run side-by-side campaigns. So it could, even though there's going to be some slight differences in how you set up that creative, you could actually go, okay, we want to run remarketing for our website on this particular topic or section or page. We're going to run Facebook remarketing and Google remarketing, run them side by side, and then you test for yourself which one gets the best results. Do you have a big audience on Facebook who is responding well to those ads, or are you reaching more people and getting a better response from Google? So it's going to be a bit of a test in that way. And the same could be done with display ads as well. So if you're promoting an upcoming event or a new product, essentially run them side by side and see if there is a preference, or if you get great results from both of them, then that's great as well. But that might help encourage future campaigns. But then if you're thinking about something like Facebook ads and search campaigns, that's where it kind of tweaks the discussion slightly into that push-pull mentality. So your search campaigns are going to be focused on people who are actually actively, if you know that people are looking for your product in Google and you're not getting the traffic that you want from organic search result, where you want more traffic, then running those search campaigns might be good. Whereas Facebook, it's more you're pushing your messages out about your services there as well, to reach that new audience who might be relevant but who aren't actively looking for you. So there's a couple of different ways you can run them there. Is there any other things that you would
no, I think for me it just comes back down to the testing. So that example I gave earlier with the accommodation, we know that Facebook, we can push people to the website, but now we want to use Google ads for that harder, kind of harder sell, getting people to actually book. But it could be the other way around. That search ads can get people to your website, but then potentially when they're on Facebook, you can get them to, purchase or book or whatever it is. So a lot of it comes down to just testing and seeing what works for your audience. Because even though you're in the same industry as obviously some other brands and businesses, you don't know who they're targeting either, what campaigns they're running. So I would say when it comes to ads, it's just you're going against yourself, I guess.
Yes. And I guess another combination I would add into that potentially as well, kind of leading on from what you were saying, is, and I think you mentioned this earlier, is using Google search ads for when people might be searching for your product. So if it's looking for accommodation, and I know accommodations are really competitive area, and a lot of providers, particularly small providers, they might also list their properties on booking.com and stays.com, and unfortunately those websites tend to dominate the organic search results. So using Google search is a good way of them actually getting direct traffic. But areas like that might also be one where people are searching in Google, but they might be shopping around and looking for a number of different venues. So coupling your search ads with a remarketing campaign to remind people once they visited your website that they visited your website, and
what
the
you have to
beautiful
offer,
scenery and the beautiful rooms and all of those kind of things, whether you're running that remarketing on Google ads or Facebook ads or both, helping them through that purchase cycle and purchase decision as well. So hopefully that one helped there. I'm going to jump down to Kat's and then come back to Nathaniel's other two. So Kat's asked, do you have any advice on how to approach compiling a list of websites you don't want your content to appear on, or is that done by topic? It's generally done by topic these thanks. It's generally done by topic these days. So yeah, if you know that you definitely don't want to appear on certain websites, you can go through as you're setting up your campaign, and as well as the topic inclusions, you've got a lot of exclusions, and with search campaigns, there's a lot of other specific exclusions you can do as well in regard to location there. The other thing I do sometimes is actually let my ads run for a couple of days or a week, and then you can go in and see where your ads have actually appeared. So that's a good way of kind of getting a feel for, you know, based on the audience that I have to find and their interests, where are my ads actually showing? And then if there are any ones that I know I don't want them to appear on, I can actually go through and remove them there as well. It's a bit more challenging with remarketing because the ads are actually following the person as opposed to using specific websites. Yeah. So, but yeah, there's a couple of ways you can tackle that there. Usually you can, I've got it pitch my head. There's a pretty big tick box that you can go, don't show my website, don't show my ad on explicit websites. So, and usually that's ticked by default, I believe. So I can't remember. I'll check and find out. So I hope that's helped. So Nathaniel had another couple of questions. I think this one relates to Facebook ads predominantly. He's asked, why would you pick brand awareness over lead generation or conversions? So the easiest way for me to answer that is when you go back and look at how the objectives are set up. Let me see if I don't have it off the top of my head. They basically set them up within 3 columns. So brand awareness falls under the first column, which is awareness. Think of that audience as, what is it? Just looking through my notes. Think of that audience as a cold audience. So people who may not know about your business or brand yet. Lead generation would be a warm audience, so that falls under, I think it's engagement is the name of the, I don't remember the name of the consideration. So that falls under the consideration column. So think of that as your warm audience, and then conversions is your hot audience. So you know that they're ready to do something specific on the site. So I wouldn't necessarily pick one over the other, but I would use them in a phased approach. If I know, say, with your client that had the brand new product that no one knew about, it's like, okay, phase 1, we need to do a brand awareness campaign about this, see what the results are. Can we get them, to the website? Yep, we've gotten them to the website. Great, we've had enough people come to the website. Now phase 2 could be your lead generation. We really want them to sign up to an email because we know that we own those email addresses. We don't own anything on Facebook. And once you get to that point, and then you can think about doing a conversions campaign. But it's not, when it comes to those 3 objectives, it's not picking one over the other. It's thinking about your customer journey, I guess. And it kind of gets into the whole marketing funnel as well. So thinking about that, top of funnel, creating awareness. But then how you move people through that as well.
That makes a lot of sense. Oh, thanks, Nathaniel.
And I know that within Facebook audiences, and you talk about this more in the workshop, I imagine there's so many different audiences you can create, and you can create engaged audiences, so you can actually control that as well. So you might start off with that brand awareness that you like, nobody knows about this product, but we think it's going to appeal to this type of demographic. Let's just show it all out to everyone. But then we're actually creating another audience from that campaign, the people who engaged with the update.
Yeah.
And then, now let's, just like you said, warm them up a bit or show them a special offer or try and get them to do something there. And then Nathaniel's last question, if you had a client whose customers were 100% on mobile devices, would you still do desktop ads? Well, I kind of figure it's another thing you could still test.
Yeah.
So that if you knew they were 100% on mobile, then and they're not going to be targeted. If they're definitely not using desktop, then the ads aren't going to be able to be shown on desktop. So it's probably not really doing you any harm
to have it selected.
Yeah. And you could certainly kind of check those results. And if, again, testing one campaign, if you know absolutely no one is looking at these ads, then you could turn it off. But I don't think there's any harm for particular campaigns running it for both desktop and mobile. I know from a Google Ads perspective and with there's certain options within Google search campaigns, like you can create call-only campaigns that show just on mobiles because they want people to call from mobiles. And with those app ads that I was talking about, they're generally run primarily on mobiles because they actually want people to install the app directly on their mobile in that one step, not kind of be on the desktop computer, pick up their mobile and then download it. So you do have some options to choose it if it's a mobile-only ad, but I'd probably be testing it first of all and just seeing if it makes a difference.
Yeah, I agree.
Cool. Well, if anybody else has any other questions, feel free to pop them in the chat or down the bottom. We'll kind of hang online for another 5 minutes or so if anybody's got any questions. Like I said, if you're interested in checking out either of those workshops, then do go to the Scout Digital Training website and you can read the full details there, including dates, times, venues, what you need to bring along, ask us any questions, and there's those, like I said, they both have early bird rates running at the moment, and only 2 more spots for that Facebook ads one, and early bird rate closes on Tuesday. So cool. Thanks everyone.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you. Here we are again. So we will be running another webinar in the next couple of weeks. I was hoping to tell you what it was in this workshop, but always cram. But do keep an eye out on the website and social channels for those details. Going to be doing them a bit more regularly this year. And if you have any ideas for webinar topics or anything you want to learn more about, feel free to hit us up on the social channels as well. So yeah, thanks again. Thanks, Jen.
You're welcome. I feel like our webinars are never an hour. When we get together, we need to schedule an hour and a half. This is our new thing going forward.
But I'm just afraid if we actually say it's an hour and a half webinar, we'll go for 2 hours.
Probably.
Cool. So thanks a lot, everyone. Like I said, we'll stay online for about 5 more minutes if there's any more questions, and we'll answer them in the chat. So otherwise, have a great day.
Bye.